Cammy, you want to make bread? You're washing your hands? You're tired? Okay, I guess I'll do this all by myself. It'll go quicker that way. Hello everybody, welcome to Mother Rabbit's Kitchen. We are making the best bread ever. And I'm probably gonna say, do you wanna help me?
No.
Then can I please?
No.
Okay, he doesn't wanna help me, but he also doesn't want me to do it without him. So anyway, this bread recipe is so easy. You don't have to knead it. It is so delicious. It tastes like real, crusty, perfect artisan bread because it is. First thing we're gonna do is we're gonna get our herbs ready. You can use any herbs you want or no herbs at all, it's up to you. I'm gonna choose rosemary because rosemary is pretty much the only herb I have kept alive this summer. So I just grabbed a sprig, and this is going to amount to maybe a teaspoon or two. You kind of go with what you want in terms of how strong of an herb flavor you want. I'm just gonna give this a really fine chop so all of my rosemary pieces are really, really tiny. I'd say that's about a teaspoon and a half or something like that. I've gone as much as like a tablespoon before. It's really, really good. Hello! Oh, you're all wet from washing your hands. Come help me.
Okay.
Whoa.
Hello,
What happened to your shirt?
bye.
Okay, now I've got my crazy little helper here, so we're going to continue. Say 3.5 cups
Tops.
of bread flour.
Papa.
Good job, will you help me?
Oh, put here.
Okay, I'll put it in here. Okay, now you pour it in. 1, 2, 3. Okay, now we'll switch because I need to measure a half. 3.5. Oh, whoa, careful, careful, it's gonna spill. Oops, it's spilling. Oh, yeast everywhere. There you go, tablespoon of yeast, go ahead. Pour, oh, now you're tapping it. Okay, now we need a tablespoon of sugar. Can you scoop it?
My turn.
It's your turn? Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, you wanna do the whole
Don't
thing?
worry.
Okay. All right, good job. Oh, wow, we don't need that much. Okay, maybe just a little bit more because that wasn't. Okay, great. That was
No,
a
no,
tablespoon-ish of
love
sugar.
it.
2 teaspoons of kosher salt.
So,
Here you go.
put here.
Are you gonna put it in there? Okay, 1, 2. Okay, pour it in. Good job. A
Listen.
little bit closer. Do you want to stir it?
Do it.
Good job. Good job. Oh, you like watching yourself on camera? I do too. So we're just stirring up our dry ingredients so that when we pour in the water, everything is already mixed really well. Everything is gonna mix and rise in this bowl. No need to do anything else. When you add the water, here's where you have a little wiggle room. If you are trying to make this, if you are limited on time and you want to kind of move quickly with this, you can warm up your water, not hot, like bathtub warm, bathtub for a child warm, not bathtub for me warm. That would be like making my skin burn. Anyway, bathtub warm. So you would put it in there and stir it up and let it rise for maybe an hour or so. Now I'm going out for a few hours and I want a nice slow rise. So I'm using cold water. Yeah, you want to stir it? And this is the most work you're gonna have to do. Stirring this mixture, it's actually really fun and really beautiful. Look how pretty that is. You can see the herbs. This is going to form a really shaggy dough. It's not supposed to look perfect, but it will taste perfect. Okay, go ahead and taste it. You like it already? I made this the other day and my husband and I both agreed that we could just slice this bread warm, slather some butter on it, and that would be dinner. The most perfect dinner ever. Not the most healthiest, but nobody was worried about that. Okay, stop tasting it. Okay, you stir it one more time. So your dough's gonna be really shaggy and you'll probably, you'll probably notice that there might be some like dry ingredients kind of like left over on the bottom that aren't incorporating. All you have to do, can you stop please? All we're gonna do is we're gonna, what happened? You bump your chin? Oh, can I have a kiss? Did it hurt? Oh, buddy, come here. Let me kiss your chin. I love you. Almost have a nice ball of dough, but I'm having a little trouble. All you need to do is ditch the wooden spoon I always get every little piece off. And then you're just gonna kind of press the dough into the bowl and fold it just to make sure everything is getting incorporated into this ball of dough. It's still gonna be shaggy and messy looking. That's fine. It's gonna turn out so perfect and beautiful. Oh, soap? I don't think we need soap. See that this is still a really shaggy, messy ball of dough. It's not pretty. It's not gonna win any beauty contest, but it is gonna win the best tasting bread in the world contest. Promise. Okay, so all you gotta do, leave it in that same bowl, cover it up, and let it rise. If you used warm water, let it rise for about an hour till it doubles in size. If you use cold water like me and you're going out for a while, 2, 3 hours, 3.5 hours, who cares? Just let it rise, double in size, let it rise and double in size. Has anyone ever come up with that rhyme before? I love to rhyme. And then we will go to the next step. This dough has been resting at room temperature for about 2.5 hours, and I gotta head out again. So I'm just gonna go ahead and put this in the fridge. But I'm gonna show you what it looks like before I do. There's nothing else you have to do. You don't have to do anything to the dough. You just pop it in the fridge overnight. If you don't have that kind of time and you want your bread today, you don't have to do this step. But if you want that really authentic artisanal flavor with all that developed yumminess, in the fridge overnight. All right, here's what it looks like. It's doubled in size, maybe even a little bit more. Look at all those air bubbles. The yeast has done its beautiful work. All those little bits of, oh my gosh, it smells so good. It smells like Italy, but I wouldn't know because I've never been there. It smells like what I would imagine Italy smells like. So this is going in the fridge overnight. See you tomorrow. Hello and welcome to tomorrow. This dough has been sitting in the fridge overnight, developing all those beautiful artisanal flavors. Let's open it up. Looks pretty much the same as it did yesterday when we put it in. And we are simply going to scrape it out with a dough scraper or your fingers onto a well-floured surface. So we're going to flour the surface pretty well. Now don't worry, I know this is like, oh no, it's gonna be a lot of work. No, I promise, it's really quick. We're just gonna be forming a ball. So I'm just gonna kind of gently dig into the sides a little bit to separate the dough from the edges of the bowl. I also have a piece of parchment paper out. I'll show you what I'm gonna do with that in a second. Kind of naturally plop out. Boop. Keep it really simple here. It has kind of formed its own little ball. I'm going to just take a little bit of flour and kind of like go like that. I don't even know if there's a term for that. And I let the flour just kind of sprinkle over the dough and it coats my hands so that my hands don't stick to the dough. And I just form it into this beautiful round disc. Your dough is gonna be nice and cold. And then we're gonna take our bread lame or just a sharp knife and we're going to make a little design in the top. This helps the bread rise up instead of rise wide. Okay, so what kind of design should we do? I don't really do bread art, so I usually just keep it simple. You could just do like a couple of lines that way and a couple of lines that way. That always looks really pretty, but I feel like since we're using rosemary, I'd like to try to make little like rosemary sprigs. So let's try that. One slit top, and then I'm just gonna do like little rosemary leaves like that. I'll do another that and another like that. I think it actually looks kind of cute. We'll see how it looks when everything's done. Little rosemary sprigs right there. I'm kind of proud of that so far. We'll see what it looks like once it comes out of the oven. What we're gonna do is take a loose piece of parchment paper. You don't need a sheet pan because we're going to cook this in a Dutch oven. Now I should probably tell you that you do not need a Dutch oven to do this. There is a variation, which I will explain. And I will do that now. So, if you're not using a Dutch oven, which by the way, I've done this both ways and the Dutch oven just comes out so much better. Now the funny thing about cooking bread is it's all about the steam in the oven. And cooking in a Dutch oven in the oven with the lid on allows there to be so much steam inside the pot trapped in there. It actually makes the bread get that beautifully brown crust, all at that crusty crust. Yeah, I guess the crust. So to achieve that without a Dutch oven, all you have to do is put a very, very hot water bath of just take like a cake pan or like a very oven safe dish, like to high temperatures. You're gonna preheat the oven to 475. You're going to fill it up with hot water and you're gonna put it on the bottom rack and just let it preheat, let it heat up for like a half hour or whatever, so that there's so much steam in the oven. Then you can simply take this either like a round disc like this, you could form it into 2 longer loaves, whatever you want, and then do the steps that I'm gonna do, and then you just bake it on a baking sheet. But now that I've done the Dutch oven method, it's gonna be really hard for me to ever go back. The first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take a little bit of yellow cornmeal, and if you don't have this, you can just use a little bit more flour. The cornmeal gives it that like authentic artisanal crust. And I'm just gonna make a big circle here. Gently lift up my bread here and put it right on top of my parchment paper with cornmeal. And I just thought of something. I should have probably put the dough on it and then designed, because I think I kind of mushed it up a little bit when I did that, but who really cares? Okay, at this point, what you're gonna wanna do is get out some plastic wrap and then some cooking spray. So we're just going to take a piece of plastic wrap that's bigger than the size of our bread. We are going to, I'm just laying it like that for a second so I can spray all over. You don't want this thing to stick. Then I'm gonna flip it over so it gets that coated side right on top of the bread. It's gonna kind of like stick to it a little bit just because it's wet, not because it's like sticking. And then I just kind of go around it like this. We're going to set it and forget it for a good 30 minutes. In the meantime, we're gonna preheat our oven to 475. And then we're gonna put our Dutch oven, lid and all, inside to preheat with the oven. We're gonna do that for 30 minutes. When the 30 minutes is up, our dough will have risen just a little bit more and our Dutch oven will be screaming hot. So now I am preheating my oven to 475. Make sure that your parchment paper can handle that high of heat. I use parchment paper from King Arthur Baking Company. You can get those online. Now, one more thing. If this easy no-knead rosemary bread seems at all complicated to you, I promise that once you do this once or twice, it's going to feel like second nature and you'll be making your own bread videos soon, okay? So just stick with me, make it, you won't regret it. I'm just gonna set my timer for 30 minutes so that I can kind of keep an eye on everything and know when it's time to put the bread in the oven. Okay, the 30-minute timer went off. We're gonna take our Dutch oven out carefully but quickly. Then, actually before I take that out, I'm going to take the plastic off of here. You don't wanna pull it off. That might cause the whatever is sticking to rip and deflate. You wanna peel it back gently. I can still see my little rosemary design there. So when I take this out, I'm gonna put it on the stovetop, take the lid off. What I'm gonna do is pick up the paper, drop it in, put the lid back on, and put it in the oven. I'm kind of giving myself like a pep talk right now to remind myself of like the process, because you have to work quickly. But don't be, too quick that you get pop this off. See all that steam already gathering in there? The whole thing goes in, paper and all. With your oven mitt, the lid goes back on, and with your oven mitts, goes right back in the oven. Carefully, it's heavy. That's it. Set the timer for 30 minutes, keep it on 375, and that's it. 30-minute timer is off. I'm gonna take the Dutch oven out of the oven. Let's see how our bread came out. You guys ready? Look how pretty this is. When you tap it, it's gonna feel like rock hard. It's gonna be nice and soft in the middle. Can you stop for a second? That's just a really nice crust there. And look at my little rosemary design. Isn't that pretty? All right, I'm gonna put it over here to cool. There it is. And all of its crusty glory. I'm gonna let it cool for about 15 or so minutes before I slice into it and slather it with butter. We're gonna slice this in, get yourself a good bread knife, something serrated, and then
cut.
Do you hear the crustiness of that bread all the way down? I'll show you what it looks like in the center. It is actually steaming. I don't know if you can see the steam, but it is so warm and soft. So who's getting the first piece?
Me.
Okay. Slather it with some butter.
Too much butter.
You want too much butter?
Yeah.
That's what I want. All right, go take that. You can eat that, okay? And Dad, he just took a bite out. This is so good. Let me take a bite. I just want a little, I'll give you more if you want it.
Why is that so good?
I don't know.
Mom, put 2
It's so
cups
good.
of butter. 2.
It's the way it's supposed to go. It's supposed to be nice and like, that means there's just extra butter on it.
Sounds like me on any given day.
What?
Hot and crusty.
Ew. I kind of want the other end because I love the ends. I'm just gonna spread butter over like every surface area. So good. I just recorded a video, and during the video, I made a bacon apple salad, and I stopped and I said, is there anything better than bacon, as I was eating a piece of bacon? And now I think this might be competition. Is there anything better than fresh baked bread with butter all over it? Thank you so much for hanging out and making this bread with me. I hope you make it yourself. I hope you enjoy it, and I hope you come back for more. Bye, everybody.